When it comes to doing business, controlling your emotions can make you or break you. And here's why. What's good, everybody? It's Vaughn. And you know, this is where you get that knowledge that you don't get in college. So go ahead and scroll into the description, click the link next to Webull, and collect your 12 free stocks. This is a critical component of business that I don't think enough people shed light on, because running a business is an emotional roller coaster. And if you want to be successful, you have to stick to the process without getting emotionally attached to the results. But before I share my opinion, I want you to get some expert advice. So let's listen to this clip from Jordan Peterson, who is a Canadian clinical psychologist.
First thing I would do if you're highly emotional, volatile, fly off the handle, a lot of mood variation, a lot of negative emotion, the first thing you might want to think about is whether or not there's actually something wrong with you, like physically. You might be ill, because illness can do that to people. And so you should go get yourself checked out. You know, you might have an inflammatory condition or something like that. And the next thing I would check out is like, are you sure you're not hungry? I'm dead serious about this. I mean, with many of my clients who've been anxious, like a lot of them, they come in and say, I'm so anxious. I had this one client, she'd come in and she'd say, God, you know, I'm so dead at the end of the day. I'm just wiped out. I've got no energy at all. I can do is lay down. She was like 24. All I can do is lay down and watch like the same movie I watched the night before. Is that normal? It's like, well, no, it's not. So, and I knew this. I said, well, what do you eat? And she said, well, I usually don't have any breakfast. And then I have like a little bowl of rice for lunch. And I usually have something like that for dinner. And I thought, you live on 2 balls of rice a day, and you're wondering why, when you come home at night after a full day's work, you don't have any energy. I said, well, have you considered the possibility that you're starving to death? I said, okay, look, here's what you do. Get up in the morning and like have 2 eggs. You don't have to enjoy them. You know, because people say, well, I'm not hungry. It's like, why is that relevant? That's not the issue here. It isn't like gourmet time. It's not starving to death time. So eat your 2 eggs, and maybe in 3 months you'll enjoy it. You know, until then it'll be like chewing down rubbery cardboard, but it's not that big a deal. So, you know, we upped her caloric intake by a factor of about 4, and she came back, and it was like, I think she came back 2 more times. It's like, oh, I have lots of energy now. It's like, oh, good, you're not dying of starvation. It's like, and I'm telling you, like, if you're a volatile person, try this. Eat a high-protein, high-fat meal in the morning. No sugar. And a big one. Like, have a steak. Have something solid. And doesn't matter if you like it. Who cares? Cook it the night before if you don't want to cook it then. Just try it for a week and see what happens. My suspicions, I've had half my clients, I would say, have dropped their volatility levels 50% by eating a high-fat, high-protein breakfast. And then also notice that if you are crabby, you know, and volatile and touchy and you can't get along with anyone, go eat something. Like have 2 teaspoons of peanut butter and wait 10 minutes and see if you're still a witch. So for some people, and if you are a volatile person, like your blood sugar levels tend to move up and down more because you stress yourself out more. For some people, that really matters. And so, look, try it for a week. It's nothing, right? And you might think, oh, God, what you'll find, if it works, is, A, you don't get nearly as upset about the things that used to upset you. So, and that'll be a shock. You'll think, God, I would have flown off the handle because of that before, and now it's hardly bothering me. So that's a lovely thing. And then the second thing is, if something bothers you, you'll recover way faster. And so that's a good start. And so try that. That's no harm. It's not going to hurt you. Try getting up at the same time every day. That's really important. If your sleep-wake cycle is not regular and you're a volatile person, say biochemically, genetically, having a sleep-wake cycle that's dysregulated is going to be very hard on you. So it doesn't matter quite as much when you go to bed, although it would be good to regularize that too, but at least pick a time. You can pick whatever time you want. Like I would recommend like 8 o'clock or 7:30, because that's what normal people do. And unless you have a really good reason not to be a normal person, you should start by trying to be a normal person if you're being an abnormal person. So try to get up at the same time and try that. You can combine that with eating and see, like my suspicions are 50% improvement virtually immediately with that. You know, there's lots of things you can try. Sleep, that might be number one. Food, that's number two. Number three, talk to someone, a professional, if it's really out of hand. Because what do you want to do? You want to suffer terribly for the next 10 years? And plus, if you do have a lot of excess negative emotion, it's really hard on you psychophysiologically because you produce a lot of stress hormones, and that makes you old. So it's dangerous physically as well. Having dysregulated negative emotion is no picnic, man, and it's really hard on the people around you as well.
When it comes to owning a business, you are the determining factor of whether you prevail or fail. And if your emotions aren't intact, then you won't know how to act. And that's a fact. As he mentioned in the video, you have to get an adequate amount of sleep. He recommended that you wake up around 8 o'clock if you want to be average. But for me, personally, that doesn't work. Waking up at 8 is way too late. I like to wake up around 5:30 so I can brush my teeth, exercise, and then meditate. And around that time, no one else is awake, so I can have clear and complete thoughts. And it just allows me to start the day off right. The nutrition component is very important and it's different for each individual. So you have to study yourself and understand what does and doesn't work for you. For me personally, I like to eat fruits in the morning because it gives me a lot of energy and it gets me going. I don't like having a heavy meal early in the morning because it just makes me want to go back to sleep. But you have to be very mindful of your intake and your output, because if you exert a certain amount of energy and you aren't consuming enough to replenish it, then you won't feel well. And you definitely want to talk about it because you can't heal what you never reveal. And seeking expert advice will put you in a position where you're able to take a much more effective approach at solving your issue. And something else that I'd like to add is meditation. Sometimes you just need to take a step back and let your thoughts flow and just listen. And that seems to be a major issue. Not a lot of people like to listen. They won't even listen to themselves. So how do you expect to understand what's going on inside if you won't even take a second to listen to your thoughts? They're inside you. The solutions to all of your problems start with self. So you have to analyze yourself so that you could take a much more effective and efficient approach when it comes to conducting yourself and maneuvering through life. In addition to that, you should get in the habit of leveraging more healthy outlets such as reading, going for a walk, going for a jog, exercising. You want to get your blood flowing and your thoughts going. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments below. If you like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and click the bell so that you're notified every time I make a new post. Until next time.